several weeks later, I found myself on a couch, physically sick, because my body was overtaken with grief. Mm-hmm. And I couldn't get up, and it was so agonizing. You know, here I am trying to figure out, how do I go on with life without my best friend, my soulmate, the only person I ever could imagine myself being with. She was an unbelievable person. My son's mom, that I dreamt that I would raise our kids with, my partner in ministry, we started this church together. There was no way I could even fathom going on without her. And you know, on that couch, I received a text message from a friend of mine now, but I didn't know him personally, Pastor Levi Lesko, who wrote Through the Eyes of a Lion. Lost his daughter a couple of years before I lost Amanda. And he essentially counseled me right in that moment. And he talked to me about running toward the roar, about the idea of all of these negative emotions that I'm feeling, this pain, this agonizing grief that I'm feeling. It's enough to make you want to numb and suppress and run away from and cope with somehow, because it hurts. It's too excruciating. Right. But the only way out of a valley is right through the valley, just as you said. And the only way through the valley is to lean into the difficult emotions, is to, rather than box them up, you know, suppress them, try to cope and numb with them, is to actually see those emotions as something that was given to us by God. That God is an emotional God, right? We see this in the person of Jesus, as he expressed emotion. And those emotions for us are an invitation from God into deeper healing. Wow. They cause us to get, if we'll let it, we'll get curious about those emotions. And we'll go, what is this telling me about where I'm at? Emotions are a gauge, not a guide in the midst of our, right? So they don't tell us where to go. Something else has to tell us where to go. They have to tell us where we're at, kind of like a red light indicator. And what those emotions do, as we begin to lean into them, as we begin to wrestle with God, right, in those emotions, and ask the questions. People say often, don't question God. No, I think you should. I think you should wrestle with God, because the alternative is taking your questions and running away from God.
That's right, that's right.
And there's no healing in that. And so for me, as the Big C Church came around me, as other people came in and infiltrated my life and supported me in that season, I began to realize, man, if I lean into the Lord and wrestle with God, he's going to reveal himself in the ways that only he can. He's going to minister to my heart in the ways that only the Holy Spirit can. And there's a powerful presence there that happens. And so what happens is your entire theology of pain and suffering, or of God in general, this box that you've constructed him to live in, it begins to get shattered when you walk through difficult things like this. And God begins to peel back and show you who he really is. And then you begin to see yourself in the light of who God is. And you begin to see the world in the light of all of those things. And it changes your perspective. And it begins to bring healing in the midst of all of that.